Joe picked a nice, real smooth tune to open up the show here. Welcome into Sports Dummies. I am one of your hosts, Tony Tucker, and I am joined by Joe Morley. Sports Dummies is a safe place for you to say the dumbest things about your favorite sports teams, athletes, conversations that are going on. Remember, we do try to keep it positive. The chat, the comments are always open. They're always free, and we love to interact. We talk mostly NFL, but towards the end of the show, we get into some other shenanigans, and I can't wait to talk about my non-football topic at the end of the show, and possibly a little NBA. I might do like a 3-minute little thing where Joe can just sit out and not chime in. But Joe, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Tony. I'm doing good. I was just in Vegas over the last week, so I'm getting ready for the NFL draft. We got to see the Bellagio fountain before they shut it down, and because that's where the stage is going to be, Tony, on the Bellagio fountain. That's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw a sneak peek of it where it's like the best walk to the podium ever, and I was like, "This is a moment right here." Already getting in here and saying you're welcome for Devontae. Anthony Coleman, I think must be a Packers fan, I'm assuming. How upset are you going to be when they don't take a receiver till he's not a Packers fan?
Anthony Coleman, I don't remember. I remember what he told us his favorite team, but I don't remember what it was. But hey, I'm excited that Devontae Adams is my first-round pick, or is the Raiders' first-round pick. So I'm excited about
he's your first two for sure. You guys maybe trade up, but I think you guys only have like 4 or 5 picks.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of picks.
But I think Packers fans are going to be so disappointed if they go till like the 5th pick in the 3rd round before they draft a wide receiver. And I know that's been the narrative. That won't be on my mock draft. I do have the Packers selecting a wide receiver in the 1st round and trading up for one. But we'll get to all that stuff. What happened?
How would the Packers justify not drafting a wide receiver, Tony?
Well, I think it's more. Yeah, I think it's more along the lines of like when they draft a wide receiver. They will, right? But if they believe that they can wait till the 2nd round and get George Pickens, Menchie, Christian Watson, something like that. Yeah. Christian Watson is the guy from North Dakota State. Garrett Wilson, I think he's probably gone. I don't think the Packers are trading up that far. But yeah, I definitely could see them trying to get aggressive. The last time it happened, it was 2002, I believe, for Javon Walker from Florida State. So it's been a long time since they got a 1st-round wide receiver. Aaron Rodgers has the mentality, I think, that he makes wide receivers. Wide receivers don't make him 2-time MVP. As good as Devontae Adams was, I believe he will be out there to prove that Allen Lazard can be a 1,200, yard receiver and 10 touchdowns in his offense.
Well, listening to some of these football fans, Aaron Rodgers made Devontae Adams who he is today, and Devontae Adams is absolutely nothing without Aaron Rodgers. So we're going to find out this year.
Well, the wide receiver position is a dependent position. Like, it's not like you have to have a good quarterback. We've seen wide receivers that have a ton of talent. Yeah, Joe, case in point, Randy Moss was almost out of the league with the Raiders. He went from being like the GOAT to the Raiders back to GOAT status. Like
Randy Moss gave up himself. Randy Moss quit on himself. Okay, was DeAndre Hopkins not considered one of the top wide receivers in the league when he was with Houston and went through 12 different quarterbacks?
Yeah, sure. I get it. But a little bit of that has to do with also where you came from, right? He came from Dante Culpepper and Randall Cunningham and like decent QBs. D-Hop didn't know any better. He went from Matt Schaub and TJ Yates and whatever else. Like, he didn't know how good it could be, so he just kept balling. But when he got to you guys, I think Devontae Adams is going to be fine. I don't really think that Derek Carr is like some extraordinary drop off in talent from Aaron Rodgers. I would prefer Aaron Rodgers, don't get me wrong, but like I don't think it's like I've seen people on the internet talking about Derek Carr like he should be out of the league. That's not the case.
It's not like you're going from Patrick Mahomes to Tua, right? Anything like
that. Always get your shots in when you can get them in.
Take those shots.
I want hang on though, because I want to talk about the draft stage a little bit more.
Okay.
Because was it you who told me that you didn't think it was that big of a deal to be at the draft? I had a conversation. I had a conversation with somebody recently, and they were explaining to me that they didn't think it would be that big of a deal to be at the draft if they could be there, right?
No,
or
it
maybe
wasn't me, but I did. I sent you
I remember.
an article or a tweet from is it Pro Football Talk and Mike Florio and all those guys at NBC?
Yes,
that they were saying that the athlete should pay or should get paid to show up to the draft. That's what
I went on a rant with you, and then at a family function, I got into another conversation with somebody else. I do remember now. This is a moment that like 0.0001 of people on the planet will ever get to experience, because not only is it hard enough to get to the NFL, but to be one of the best 32 that will be potentially drafted on that day is an even thinner margin that you have to clear to get there. And now you want to like muddy that up so they could get extra money when they're about to become millionaires. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, if you can get money, get money. But these agents are also putting them out there and allowing this to be the opportunity where they get their first endorsement deal, right? They get them in commercials. They get to meet the families and stuff like that. It's a great opportunity. There's just this weird thing where it's like you can't do anything for being distinguished. So then why doesn't Aaron Rodgers demand money to show up for the MVP ceremony at the ESPYs? He's Aaron Rodgers. Like, why not say, hey, you want me on stage in person and you don't want some pre-recorded Zoom video? I'm gonna need $1 million in my bank account to be there. It's being honored, and it is an honor to be drafted in the NFL, is enough for me.
I don't care if I'm drafted last. I want to walk across that stage, Tony.
Yeah.
I want to walk across that stage. And especially in Vegas, why not? If you could do it and you're going to walk across the stage, you want to be honored. This is the biggest moment of your life. Like, you worked your heart. I don't know. I always grew up and, I never got the accomplishment, but a lot of people grow up. You either grow up hitting the home run, like acting like you're in the backyard, hitting the home run, bases loaded, World Series, right? 2 outs, 2 bases loaded, down by 2, and you need the grand slam or whatever, you hit that. Or you end up throwing the Super Bowl winning touchdown pass or catching it, or you're walking across the stage at the draft. These are all part of dreams that people grow up with. And to say that, oh, I'm not going to do it, I'm going to charge you for it, I don't agree with that either. Show up, do your thing. What sucks is what they've been doing a great job of the past couple of seasons, because earlier in the draft process, when they had all these people show up, like the Aaron Rodgers and the stuff like that, that's set in the green room forever, and they kept showing them. That's the sad thing. Don't show me the green room. I don't care. Show me when they walk out and have a great time. And I think this year, Tony, they have 20 people set to go to the draft, 20 prospects set to be in Vegas.
Yeah, a couple of them are sliding, right? And I think
some of them won't even – they'll be around in the second round.
Yeah, there's one, I think it's Nakobe Dean, that I'm like worried about, right? Because the more I keep hearing about a lot of people whose opinions I trust just keep saying, I'm hearing that people are a little shy on him because of his size. Everything I've seen, I think he's fantastic. And I think he's going to be a good pro. And I've seen linebackers his size be really successful. But I get it. You get enamored by measurements, size, speed, athletic ability. I'm the same. I get it. I'm the same way.
Well, they have 2 quarterbacks slated to be there in Malik Willis and Matt Corral. We don't know where they're going to go. We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Corral definitely could be on the second day. I just think Malik Willis' upside is so high, nobody's going to pass up on the chance to have a 5th-year option on that kid to keep him around. Because even if he's a project, even if you have a veteran situation, right? Atlanta, for example. Bring him in, put him behind Mariota for a year. Now you have 4 years because you have that 5th-year option, as opposed to the second round. Now he sits for a year. Maybe your franchise is in rebuild mode. I don't know. I think the first is a good idea.
That's what I was going to talk to you a little bit about, Tony, is like all these before the draft, all leading up from the beginning of this month all the way till now. We're 1 week away. So many names have been at the top, so many names have been at the bottom, and then they just keep going up and down, up and down. Aiden Hutchinson is the name that we've heard at the top mostly all the time, right? His name is stuck up there. One guy that you love is Trayvon Walker. He's made his way from nowhere all the way to the top. Another guy that you were talking about today, you actually made a video about today with your Chargers, is Stingley Jr.
Yep.
Right? So these are all guys. And then the quarterback position. The quarterback position, we could see him go all the way up at number 3, or we can not see him taken in at the first round. So are you believing the hype on some of these guys? Which one? Okay, let's start with Trayvon Walker. Are you believing the hype that Trayvon Walker will be a top 5 pick?
Yeah, I am. Because he's one of those people that, like, he was able to shine in a defense that has all 11 of those guys are going to play in the NFL somewhere. From the corner to safety to linebacker, D-line, they're all playing somewhere in the NFL. And Trayvon Walker is so different. He could fail at one position, but has the ability to transfer to another position, right? Like, I think you could draft him as an edge rusher, and let's say he doesn't get there. He doesn't ever quite reach that peak. You could easily transition him because his skills are so good. You couldn't then move Aiden Hutchinson to linebacker. If he fails, which I don't think he will either, but if he failed at the next level, that's it. You ended up with a guy who's going to get you 3.5 sacks a year, and you took him with a top 5 pick. But to me, Walker has success at different positions on the field, and that's what makes him different.
All right. So do you believe that Jacksonville doesn't know who they're taking at number 1 overall?
I think there's a little bit of doubt. I think that the idea that, because you keep hearing all the rumors about Trent Baalke comparing Trayvon Walker to Aldon Smith, I think there's a little bit of doubt about them. I don't think they want to be there. I don't think they want this number 1 pick because they already have their QB. So they wish that this was a stronger QB class so that a team maybe like Atlanta comes up and says, hey, we do need a quarterback. Or maybe a team like the Lions say, like, hey, you know what? It's only 1 spot, but we'll give you something for it. Like, I think Jacksonville would actually take a lesser deal to move back.
And okay, so I'm sitting here and I'm reading all these stories about Jacksonville, and it's like Jacksonville has 4 people still in mind for the top pick. Like, they don't know. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, that's bullshit. Either they're ran horribly and they don't know what they're doing in Jacksonville, or they're trying to get that trade, like you said, they're trying to get the trade value there, trying to get somebody to trade up. Because at the end of the day, Jacksonville's hoping somebody goes, hey, we'll move up there and we'll give you whatever. Like you said, if it's a lesser deal than normal to move up, they'll do it. But I believe that's what they're trying to do, because there's no way that you're 1 week away from the draft and you don't know who you're drafting. That I would think that would be a horrible front office decision to not know that.
So let me put it to you like this. I don't know who their current right tackle is, but they have a franchise tag on Cam Robinson. This is the second one. He signed it. After this, he's a free agent regardless. They can do nothing. So are you thinking that Ikwonu might be the play there? Are you thinking, like, how can we pass up on what seems like a sure slam dunk 8.5 to 10 sacks a year with Hutchinson? Or do we take the sort of, out of the box athlete and Walker? Like, I get that there's probably some people there. My thing is like, is there a team that's like, maybe, I don't know, let's say the Jets or the Giants who pick at 4 and 5. Let's say they're like, you know what? I'm afraid that the Texans might take Sauce Gardner, right? Or the Giants go, I'm afraid that the Jets might take Sauce, and we want him. He's big time in New York. He's confident. we could use a shutdown corner in the NFC East. I mean, you got CeeDee Lamb and Terry McLaurin, Devonta Smith. Eagles draft a new wide receiver every year. So maybe the Giants say, hey, we want to go from 1 to 5. And now all of a sudden the Jaguars can add a little bit of an extra draft pick at the end there. So I don't think it happens again, but it's not like there's a slam dunk pick for them. That's why I believe that they're still kind of I don't think it has anything to do with the organization.
All right, you're on the clock, Tony. You're the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trent Baalke, number 1 pick. Ready, go. Who are you taking?
I'm taking Trayvon Walker. And
that wasn't hard, right?
It's not, but I'm also I don't have a job on the line. I'm a dummy on a couch in Southern California sitting here. I have nothing wagered on it. But here's my estimation of it. I think that Aiden Hutchinson is going to be a very good player, right? Could finish a career with 90 to 100 sacks. I think Trayvon Walker is a player who has transcendent potential, and that's what I'm taking. I'm taking the guy that I think could be like Von Miller, that could be one of those type of players where you're like, oh man, if he falls to number 10, you look back and you go, oh, the Jaguars were stupid. How did they not see this guy? Look at him. He can do everything.
Well, I say it's easy for you. So, right, I asked you what your number 1 pick was. I said, do it now. You did it now. Well, if you ask me, I'm taking Evan Neal, number 1.
Okay.
Why? Because you and I basically have the same philosophy. We want to build the lines, right? We know that in the NFL, you got to build your D-line, you got to build your O-line. You're going with the pass rusher. I'm going with the pass blocker. And Evan Neal, to me, I think he's going to fall. I would take him number 1, but I think he's going to fall, and he's going to fall like your boy did last year, Slater. Slater fell, right? And he became one of the top tackles in the league. Evan Neal has that little potential to me, but if it was me right now at the number 1 pick, I'm taking the offensive tackle out of Alabama. You played at a bigger school. You played at the higher competition. I know what you're getting. I know what I'm getting there, and that's why I'm going there with Jacksonville, because I need to protect my young quarterback. And like you said, we have a tackle under contract in Jacksonville that might not be there after 1 more year.
I just saw an interview with him, with Evan Neal, and he's I played every snap in all 41 games of my college career. That's impressive in the SEC. Gave up 5 sacks at his time there in 41 games. To me, I get exactly what you're saying. And if you have Trevor Lawrence and you're unsure if Cam Robinson is there for the long term, I do think that getting a left tackle is a good situation. Here's the thing. You have 1 year with him now, and odds are you're probably going to be a top 12-ish pick next year. And if you need to, can trade up and go get your left tackle in next year's draft, right? That's why I'm saying this year you allow, you get a position, because Josh Allen, the lesser Josh Allen for the Jaguars, is a really good edge rusher. He's not great, but he's really good. He could be better if he had somebody else either stacked on the same side as him or bringing pressure from the other side. So, I think that the defense can also be a bonus to the offense indirectly. Turnovers, more 3-and-outs, more studs over there, more sort of big fourth quarter plays that you can get to, keep the team from scoring or get the ball back to your offense. So I don't know. I see it. Trayvon Walker was the first player I said to Mike. I go, if Trayvon Walker's there at 17, this is who I want. Again, this is before Khalil Mack trade, but I was like,
be close.
If he makes it to 17, Joe, I will have a meltdown on camera.
A part of me is sitting here going, Aiden Hutchinson to Detroit is a great thing for the Detroit organization. And like you said, even if he doesn't work out, you're putting a Michigan guy in Detroit on that team. You're going to bring the fan base there. Do I think that's the right pick? probably not. But Aiden Hutchinson to Detroit feels right to me every time I watch the highlights and all that stuff. Even though I still like Kayvon Thibodeau better than Aiden Hutchinson. But I'll move on from that. I have another question for you, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
First cornerback taken off the board, Stingley or Sauce Gardner?
I think it's Sauce Gardner because there's no injury question, right? So who was I listening to? It was DJ was saying the injury actually happened last August, and then he tried to play a couple games and then was basically like, I got to shut it down. I'm no good. And he was getting cooked, and it's bad film. I don't know who I think is the better player. I don't really know enough, like, technically to watch the film and be like, this one or that one. They trail better, they press better, they're better at opening up their hips. Like, I can see it, but I'm not going to sit here and profess to be some like draft expert who could break down a cornerback and say definitively one is better than the other, right? So I just think if I have one person who never had a Liz Frank injury and another person who has had one, I want Sauce Gardner, and so I think he goes first. Who do you think goes first?
I think Stingley goes first.
Okay.
If you would, like last week when we were having this conversation, I would have told you that Sauce Gardner was going first, but it seems like it always happens right around the draft. We'll talk, especially with the cornerback position. It happened last year with Joe Horn, right, or J.C. Horn. Yeah, J.C. Horn went above everybody that we thought. And so the more I read about it, the more people are it says more scouts and teams are more comfortable with Stingley and that injury and everything, and that they're saying that he could actually go number 3 overall to Houston.
I wouldn't be mad at that at all. Lovie Smith, defensive coach, I think it makes sense. To me, the cornerbacks are a little bit deeper and they need a left tackle for the Texans. I can't see them passing up Ekwonu or Evan Neal at 3. Like, it just, you have a second-year quarterback in Davis Mills. I think you got to take tackle. I mean, they have the 13th pick, and they could get a player like Trent McDuffie, who is, by all accounts, like already a professional human being, even though he's a college athlete. So, like, I'm not gambling. Like, it's not for me. But yeah, I think so. I think I'll leave it there.
Over under 5 wide receivers taken in the first round.
Way over. Like, I think there could be 8.
8?
Yeah.
So we'll go Williams, Wilson, London, Olave. Who else are you thinking? Burks?
I think Treylon Burks goes. I think Jahan Dotson will go. Why am I blanking? Why am I blanking on the other one? Fuck.
So there's going to have to be some movement. If that many wide receivers are going, either there's going to be a big run in the middle or there's going to be some movement up and down the board for them.
Well, so look at all the teams that could use a wide receiver, right? The Saints could use somebody. The Packers have 2 picks. The Chiefs have 2 picks, right? The Chargers have been linked to taking speed in the first round. Every other day I hear somebody else go, I'm not shocked if Sky Moore goes late in the first round. People have said the Bills, that's a position they want to add. I don't believe that's the case. I think the Bills are nicer if they try and get one of these edge rushers that falls, right? Yeah. But I don't know. And I think that the temptation of Christian Watson is just because of the measurements, right? You get him in the first round, and again, the 5th-year option, I think, weighs on the mindset of wide receivers signing for $28 million. Now, something we're going to talk about later kind of doesn't mean shit because all these wide receivers go, I know I still have a year left on my contract, but I want to be paid now. So it's like, yeah you get the 5th-year option, but the fifth-year option might come with some headaches. Although Christian Watson just doesn't feel like that kind of guy to me.
All right, so all right, we hit on that. I got one more. We can go one more question on this. One more question on the draft because we're a week away. Why not? So many questions. So I already talked about Evan Neal, right? And I thought Evan Neal would be my number one pick. And I've been seeing these thrown up now. First tackle taken off the board. Who will it be?
Oh, man, this is what has stopped my mock at number 3 at Houston because I don't know what they want to do because Houston also doesn't have a running back. So the strength of Ekwonu seems to be in the running game, right? They just talk about his aggressiveness. And when you see it on there, all the highlights that you see are of him doing that. But I think Davis Mills can pass a little bit. I feel I'm going to go with Ekwonu going as the first one off the board because of his aggressive nature. And I think that whoever gets him believes that they can convert him into a great pass blocking tackle. Who you said you got Neal, right?
Well, I personally like Neal. There's been a lot of chatter about Charles Cross now moving up the board and being the top tackle taken off the board. I still would go with Neal personally. Out of those three, I mean, you flip a coin, we never know with the NFL, but I'll still go with Neal, and I'll still say Neal would be the first one taken off the board, and I just hope that he is. But we've seen it before where they take potential over proven talent in hopes that this tackle will be better than the other ones, and sometimes it don't work out that way, right?
I remember last year when they drafted Leatherwood and you had a meltdown and everybody in the chat was like, he's not even the best tackle on their team. The best tackle on their team isn't getting drafted until next year. And like, it was just like, oh, that was one of the, I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. I was like having an asthma attack. It was great.
It's not, I don't want to relive. Why do we got to relive that right now, Tony?
It was so funny. Oh,
all right. Yes. So we're good on the draft then, right? You and I and maybe Mike will do a mock draft probably tomorrow, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I got time, and I'm always down to sit and talk about the draft, and because there are some more players that I'm just very interested in where they're going to go. Kyle Hamilton is like one of those players that I don't get the hesitation because he ran a slow 40 to like. If you watch any Notre Dame game, he's making big plays.
But people are afraid of safeties now, Tony. Like Jamal Adams killed the safety position and scared people off, I believe.
Well, Derwin James might be the best defensive player in football.
Yes, but he's only played one full season.
That's not true. His rookie year, he was rookie of the year, and he's been all pro twice, and he just finished a season where he got snubbed from being second team All-Pro. That's 3 out of 5 years or whatever, Joe. Come on, man.
3 out of 5 years. So 2 years I couldn't have an All-Pro.
Yes.
All right. So let's get into regular NFL news. We'll move on from the draft to the regular NFL news. Something I brought up to your attention at the beginning when we got together. It said the Giants are trying to trade. It would be second-year wide receiver Kadarius Toney, right? Yeah. Would you be interested in him as a team, or do you think the Giants are going to be stuck with him?
I think it depends on what it takes to get him away from the Giants. What did the Giants use on him? They used a first-round pick last year, right? Like number 20 or something 20? Last year. I think if the Giants are willing to part ways with him for a third or a fourth or something crazy like that, right? Then, yeah, I'm trading for him, especially if I'm a team that needs an explosive player like him. If I think that my team could win, and let's just take the Bucs, for example. Chris Godwin might be coming back a little bit slow because of that injury. Maybe he fits in okay there. Like, you need a team that is going to do some winning and has a good veteran QB where it's like, oh yeah, we could trade for him, and if it works out, it's a bonus for our situation.
Yeah, and I know the Giants took a lot of heat for drafting him last year, and then he ended up doing pretty good. I think he ended up with over 400 yards. Got hurt. He also got ejected in the Dallas Cowboy game, if you remember that. So he hasn't grown up to do, but I think there's a little bit of talent there, and you put him with the right offensive coordinator. I don't see why not. I mean, you put him as a number 2, number 3 somewhere, and you can get him for cheap. I'm taking that chance on him too, Tony.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think there's too much talent there for the Giants to move on unless Daboll's like, I can't play with this guy.
All right. So another thing that I saw today, Tony, and I don't know how you feel about holiday football, but we're all used to football on Thanksgiving, sitting around watching Thanksgiving. So now there's 3 games on Thanksgiving. There's usually the Detroit one, then the Dallas game, and then there's a night game. Especially for us on the West Coast, we like those because the night game is what we're missing. Because on the East Coast, they get all those in the afternoon. We get the morning game at 9:30. Well, now the NFL's come out where they're playing a triple header this year on Christmas Day, Tony. Christmas Day triple header. So I guess the way it falls, I guess December 24th is going to be a Saturday. So that's where they're going to put most of the games on Saturday. But then they're going to leave 3 games for the whole Christmas Day, it said. So are you excited about that? Wait, hold on. Yeah, the NFL will play 2 or 3 games on Christmas Day, which lands on a Monday. I don't know. I don't know. It's all messed up. Either way, they're going to play 3 games on Christmas Day.
So usually towards the end of the year, they start having a couple games on Saturday, Sunday, and then a game Monday Night Football or whatever. But I'm all for it. My wife is going to hate this because we take Christmas video every year, right? And it's always like there's always some sports talk in the background from the TV in all of our Christmas videos. Like depending on what day it lands on, and you'll hear like NFL Network, or you'll hear the pregame show, or you'll hear something in the back of our videos when it's taken on holidays. And it happens in a lot of them. During the NBA season, right? Like Easter's, it's happened a few times on those videos. So like it will be watched. It will be on. There will be like an AirPod in my ear while I'm like talking like, oh yeah, I love that gift. Yeah, no, socks. Awesome. I love it. Yeah, no, you're right. I did lose some weight. I need some more underwear. What'd you say? No? Okay. Look, it will be a lot of me feigning interest in things that I don't really need. But I love it.
Yes. Underwear. Yeah, that's what I needed.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Never seen you so excited for a new pair of underwear.
Yeah. Is that the brand you wanted? Yes, I wanted Costco brand underwear. Yeah. F yeah.
I mean, okay, after all the presents and all that, you're looking for something to do, and your family's all together. And what a better way to piss off your cousin or somebody like that? Because I'm a Raider fan, so on Thanksgiving Day we had a bunch of Raiders and Cowboy fans. So what better way to piss off your family is to have them together, especially if they have a big rivalry game on those holidays, right?
It definitely, I think that it seems more, well, I don't know. I was going to say it seems more fair if they are rivalries, right? That you have to play on that day. Like at least it means something for a division standpoint. The problem is you can't predict that late into the season. You might think the Cowboys and Eagles are going to be good, and that's a great Christmas Day matchup. But then who knows? They could both be fighting to get win number 7 or something, and it's
just
bad.
Put the AFC West on Christmas Day. We'll be good with it.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be fireworks no matter when they put it on.
Just put the Raiders and the Chargers, and we're good with it.
Oh, I thought you were trolling me last night when you sent me that text message about watching that Week 18 game again. I was like, no, I don't need it. I don't need.
Oh no, it wasn't Week 18.
Yeah. So I know. I saw the message after. It's too late.
Everybody who's watching or listening right now, I texted Tony and Mike last night, and I go, hey, they have the Raiders and Chargers on NFL Network, but it was the Raiders and Charger game from 20 20 when the stadium was still empty, and the Chargers were 4-7 and the Raiders were 7-6, and it was when they went into overtime, and then Justin Herbert went and scored the touchdown at the end of the game with like a minute left.
I was in.
I'm in.
Yeah.
So it was. I mean, it was cool, and it was weird to go back and remember the stadium. Like I know we just went through COVID, but stadiums are full again. I've been to games with full stadiums, but it was weird to see the stadium empty again and watch that over again and be like, we actually lived through that time. That was weird to see.
Yeah, I hope we never go through fanless football again. It was weird and I didn't like it.
Yeah, and it reminded me because Troy Aikman was calling the game, and it reminded me when I was on the tour last week of Raider Stadium. I took my son and my daughter around Raider Stadium, and we went through the tour, and they were like, "Hey, this is the press room where, the people call the game," and they go, "Yes, Troy Aikman's ego can fit in this room all by itself." And it was funny because Troy Aikman was actually calling that game.
So. Troy Aikman and Joe Buck get way too much flack as far as I'm concerned. Okay, I got about 10 minutes left. You want to run through some of these a little bit faster?
I only got one last thing. Tom Brady today cleared $9 million in cap room for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He restructures like he always does, right? Somehow he always does. But then I was reading something, Tony. If Tom Brady retires or he's done at the end of this year, the Tampa Bay still owes him $33 million in dead money next year. That's crazy.
Well, yeah, maybe I don't know. It's Tom Brady. Just give him the money. You won a Super Bowl. You weren't even close before him. Like you had the pieces. It's like the Bucs were like giving a race car to a student driver, and that's what Jameis Winston was. Like, he just wasn't ready to have that much talent on one roster, and Brady's like, here, I'll take that off your hands for you. And you know what? We'll upgrade. We'll put some NOS, and we'll trick this thing out, and we'll win. We'll win Indy with this thing, and he did in his first year. So just give him his money. Give him his cash.
Yeah. Cash money.
Tom effing Brady. I don't know. I've been having these like weird visions that Tom Brady falls off this year. Like legit is just sort of like okay.
Like he doesn't have it anymore?
Yeah. Like he takes a couple big hits and he's just kind of like, you know what? I don't know if I want to do this.
So you're saying that we could have Kyle Trask or Blaine Gabbert at the end of the year pulling off a Nick Foles type season?
No, definitely. They will not do that.
Or what's his name? Osweiler season, where they lead him to it and then he comes back for the Super Bowl?
That will not. I don't think that happens. But I don't know. I think at some point, when you think everybody goes, oh, he didn't really want to retire. It was a whole game for him to do all this other stuff. But like, I don't know. To me, it's like you considered it. You now all of a sudden you're getting smashed, and you're gonna want to continue that pain. No, I don't see it happening. Man, Chiefs scare the hell out of me in this draft with all the picks they have. They can legit trade up twice in the first. James, I'm not worried about what the Chiefs do because they have all these picks and all this stuff because they're trying to replace one of the most dangerous weapons we've ever seen in the NFL. Like it's really hard to compare what Tyreek Hill was, and I don't think they can find that. I don't think they can replace that. Now, maybe in 2-3 years, if they nail these draft picks, even if they do trade up, then all of a sudden it's scary. But I still think their offensive line has some questions. Their defense has some major questions to me. So, like, is the plan going to be to outscore everybody?
Remember when everybody was scared of CEH? They drafted CEH. Can you believe it?
Well, I mean, maybe that's what they look at. Maybe they get they bring in like one of these bigger backs that are really talented, Walker or Isaiah Spiller or something like
I
that.
think the pressure is on the Chiefs. The Chiefs have a lot of draft picks, but like you said, Tony, they have to nail some of these because they have some cap situation coming up, and they have some of these older guys that they need these cheaper young guys to perform for them to keep going at the rate they're doing it.
Yeah, for sure. They could use an edge rusher. Chris Jones is getting old. He battled through injuries last year. Frank Clark is not the same Frank that he was in Seattle. Honey Badger's gone. They replaced him with, I forget, DJ Reed or somebody like that. Like,
Eric Reed.
Yeah, some Reed.
Reed. I don't know. One of the Reeds.
A Reed. I can't read, so that's all I know. And it'll be the Chiefs are going to be really good because Patrick Mahomes is really good, and because they have a good coach. They have a good football coach who wins a lot of football games. He says, "Well, you can't count Chiefs out when 15 is throwing the ball," and I agree with you. I think that he'll be right there, and he'll keep teams. He'll keep the Chiefs in games just like he did last year, but if you look at a lot of those games, like look at the game against the Chargers and what Tyreek did, and Travis Kelce's now a year older and maybe isn't afforded the same open area because he's gone. And then look at like the game against the Bills where he's throwing up the deuce sign. Like Tyreek Hill is a big deal, and we're going to see if Patrick Mahomes can adjust to not having him. Part of me kind of thinks that it could make him better. If he decides like, hey, I'm just going to, whatever the defense gives me, I'm going to take it. That could be scary because when he does decide to unleash, then it's like, oh no, he grew up and he's making smart decisions and he's not playing Euro ball. That would suck. But I don't know. I hope the Chiefs are, I don't know, what is it, 7-10 next year? Picking in the top 10. That would make me happy.
All right. So we got to the point of our show that we do non-football topics, Tony. You want to go first?
Yes. I have not seen the video because I'm afraid to watch it, but I did read a clip about Mike Tyson on an airplane feeding his fist to a passenger. And this is one of those situations where, like, you know, when you're drunk with your buddies and you're like, and you go, what? $5 million? Fight one round with Mike Tyson? I'd totally do it. And I'm not going to lie. I've been one of those people who said, if you told me that you were going to give me $1 million for every 30 seconds that I could stand in the ring with Mike Tyson, I would do it. And like, there's no way I would pass up that kind of money. Like, no, obviously, when you're messing around in boxing, you can get hurt real bad if you don't know how to protect yourself, and you can get your neck broken, and you can get your lights punched out like permanently. But this guy did it essentially for a selfie. Like, he took a selfie with Mike, then he kept annoying him, and then Mike just pounded on him. And I'm the kind of person where I don't like to watch people get beat up. It makes me feel weird and helpless, and I don't know. I never watch videos. People will be like, "Oh, you got to watch this fight." You know, this dude just stomps him. I'm like, "No, I'm good. I don't need to see that." But Mike Tyson beats on you. That's a story for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I saw this story, Tony, and I thought it was fake because I watch a lot of TikTok. You know, I sit there and I'm going through, and it goes, "My friend is," and then it shows the guy like bugging Mike Tyson, and he goes, "My friend got beat up by Mike Tyson." He's like this, and I'm like, "Oh, it's whatever. It's not true. Whatever." Like they edited it pretty good. It never like showed Mike Tyson beating him up. It just showed the aftermath. But then TMZ and all them come out with Mike Tyson beats up dude on plane, and I'm like, oh crap, that was true. But they said Mike Tyson was being nice to the guys. He took pictures with them. He did all that stuff, and then the guy just kept bugging him and bugging him and bugging him. And it's not the right. I mean, you never have the right to just beat the crap out of somebody, like if they're bugging you or pestering you or anything like that. But I mean, it's Mike Tyson. You know what he does.
So this is the other thing too. Like, when you're a boxer or an MMA person, it's really hard to say, "Oh, I felt threatened." It's like, wait, you stood across from George Foreman and you stood across from Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis. Like, you've stood across from some of the biggest, baddest boxers on the planet, but you were afraid of a drunk guy from like, I don't know, San Jose. Like this is not, you can't fight. You can't fight back. That's the problem when you have that ability, you then have to be like more mature than the other person. I don't like it. Like, I'm not agreeing with what Mike did. Like, I don't think it's great, but also like, as long as the guy's okay, he didn't cripple him. He didn't give him brain damage. He just gave him a good thumping for being annoying. Yeah. I have a feeling this guy's still going to be annoying to anybody, any famous person he ever meets.
Oh yeah. And he's going to go bragging about how he got his ass kicked by Mike Tyson.
I'd be like, I got it. I tried to get in a couple of good shots, and then somebody got in my way.
Tony. Tell him how you got your ass kicked by Mike Tyson, Tony. Tell him.
I don't know. I would shade it so that like I wouldn't be bragging about how I got my ass kicked. I'd be talking about how it wasn't a fair fight. I'd been drinking since early in the morning. He kind of cheap shotted me. Like, let's get it again, Mike, because Mike's not going to fight me again for real. So I would stir the narrative as to he cheap shotted me. Iron Mike Tyson had to cheap shot me. Are you kidding me?
He had to do that to get me to last couple things. Shohei Ohtani and the Angels first place in the American League. Is that going to last? I don't know, but I got to give him a shout out because it's been a long time since Los Angeles had 2 winning baseball teams, and the Angels are doing it. So good to see that happening down there. That I've been watching is the Shaq and Kenny Smith fighting on air, and and Charles Barkley. Have you seen those guys fighting during the playoffs? They're all sitting there yelling and screaming at each other over the dumbest crap ever. And what's up with the NBA, Tony? Every NBA player is getting hurt. Is the NBA season too long, or what's going on? Everybody's hurt now, and the playoffs are going to struggle. 2 years. I
don't know. It is kind of weird. It's making it less fun to watch for sure. Devin Booker's out and Chris Middleton's out, and
Embiid just got hurt.
When? Tonight?
Yeah, I just read that his finger or something, he tore a ligament.
Oh no, Embiid. That's who I said was going to win the finals. Come on, Embiid always gets hurt. He always gets hurt at the wrong time. I have a couple things to say about it. The Kenny and Shaq and Barkley era is coming to an end. These guys they're all big personalities that have gotten together well for a very long time. It's been a very successful run. I believe they've won a bunch of Emmys. They're one of the most celebrated like sports talk shows ever, but it's done. It's getting tired. Shaq looks so grumpy and miserable at the end up there. Like even when they ask him for analysis, he's like, he did what he was supposed to do. He got it. And it's just like, okay, Shaq, like we can't hear you. You're speaking with your head down and you're just like being a grump and you're getting a paycheck, but like he doesn't have any life. He's just tired of all the bullshit that he has to deal with. Some kind of I don't know. It bums me out because that was part of my favorite stuff during the regular season was I would keep it on to hear what they had, the nonsense they were going to get into afterwards. I loved it. It's fun.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to say on yours, Mike Trout. He keeps getting hurt, and the Angels are winning. Like, they must have a good baseball. I'm not that familiar with the roster. But, again, this is like the third year in a row where I keep seeing him pop up on, like, he's got a finger, he's got a foot, he's got a back, he's got a what. I'm like, come on, Trout, you're one of the best players in baseball I want to see out there. The last 2 times I went to Anaheim for the Red Sox game with my friend. It's a tradition we do every year. We drive out to Anaheim so he can watch a Red Sox game. Trout hasn't played in any of them.
Because, like I said, there's a new sheriff in town.
Yeah.
And his name
Showtime.
Showtime Ohtani. And you celebrated his birthday last year.
I did. Showtime. All right, let's wrap this up. Anybody listening on the audio version, please consider subscribing, sharing with a friend, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Anybody here on YouTube that joined us in the comments, we appreciate you. Anthony Coleman, James Davis. It's great. We next time that we talk, the first round of the draft will have been done. And maybe the entire draft by the next time we talk. Whew. NFL season's here. Joe, anything you want to add?
I got to hit my white boy dance moves on the way out now.